So why are we reviewing an Acura NSX again? I think I've driven this now for the 4th time. I think we reviewed it for video at least once, possibly twice. I gotta go back and check. And now I've got my hands on one. I gotta get out of electric mode because there's a car coming. But we're reviewing it again because it's awesome and it doesn't get the love it deserves, and it is available now in this gorgeous Long Beach blue pearl paintwork, which pays homage to one of the original blues on the OG NSX, and also to the fact that Acura sponsors the Long Beach Grand Prix now that Toyota ditched California for Texas. Long Beach blue pearl, it's wonderful, it's beautiful. And I've heard from Acura that of those ordering a 2021 Acura NSX, a quarter of them are going for this paint. So they're picking the good color. Good for you. There's a good orange, there's a couple really good whites, even though I was just talking about color. Acura makes a great white, historically they always have. There's an orange, a yellow, Indy yellow I think is also new for this year. But this blue is wonderful. We need to get them to add a dark green to the color palette, and then we will be good to go. But let's back up and figure out why we're talking about this one. Again, it's just because we want to. Acura has a new color. That's a good enough excuse for me to say, hey, let's give this one a whirl. Now, when we reviewed a 2019 model, we realized and learned that they upgraded a bunch of stuff 2 years into the initial production run. I'm gonna pull over here so I can speak to that. What they did was they made the anti-roll bar stiffer, they made stiffer bushings in the rear as well, and then they up-spec'd the tire. It used to be a different Continental, it is now a better Continental, the Sport Contact 6P or something like that. And I think at the dealer level you can actually spec stickier rubbers like Pirelli Trofeo R's, maybe Michelin's as well. So the chassis tuning has improved since the car launched, but we knew all that already. So this is kind of a refresher course for why this car is awesome. We have, let's go. Start with, I like to try to do this in order for the sake of, oh, hold on, really nice Mercedes at a 126. Diesel. Guy in a cowboy hat. Don't see that as much out here. So, backing up on the outside, what do we have? This is a good looking vehicle that shares a shape that you're going to find familiar with most mid-engine vehicles. That's just how these things are shaped. But this pulls it off well. This looks really good. I was driving through my neighborhood in EV only mode, and I heard a child yell out, "Oh my God, is that a Lamborghini?" And then it must have been his dad half a block later coming out of the garage, "Oh my God, is that a Lamborghini?" Which was really funny to me because a Lamborghini going by would be much louder. I was driving it I love driving this in EV only mode. I don't know, it's weird, but I enjoy it. So on the outside, car looks good. I wish they had some different wheel choices. There's a standard wheel and then there's a couple different finishes on the optional wheel. I just wish there was a bit more to choose from. I don't have a problem with the wheel, but if I bought one of these, I would go with aftermarket wheels eventually anyway. So on the outside, great color choices. The car looks really good. This one is wearing the optional carbon fiber rear spoiler, but it doesn't have any of the other carbon fiber bits, which saves a bunch on price, which we'll get to, including not speccing carbon ceramic brakes, which I would do, even though I say normally on a street car, don't worry about the carbon ceramics. It's just carbon ceramics are just excellent now and you kind of have to spec them, but it's like 9,000 plus to do so on any vehicle, especially this one. So outside, good. Inside, good as well. On the outside, they charge you extra for the paint options. So like this and all the other special paint, it's a $1,000 upcharge. On the inside, you can basically choose any color interior for no extra price. This one, I forget what it is. It's like a whitish and a blackish mix, semi-aniline, I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. I've seen, you can do blue, you can do red. There's a saddle color, there's a black color. When I was playing with the configurator, I did this blue with the saddle interior and it is lovely. Really good color. And then if you're like a homer for Superman, you can do blue and red. But DC sucks, go Marvel. That's not true. DC, the film universe struggles, but the property is great. Just Marvel's just wiped the floor with them. That is way off track. We don't need to go there right now. So the interior space and options are nice. The infotainment system needs an upgrade. This is dated. It's just older Acura stuff when they have newer stuff that works better. The ELS sound system, of course, sounds excellent, but this screen we need an upgrade here. It's there's a physical volume knob on the steering wheel, which is good. Well, I don't want to, nope, can't play Tool, can't afford to license that. But over here, it's like a swipe touchpad-y thing, which, whatever. Thankfully, the climate is mostly easy to access. You can do up, down for the temperature and change a few other things, but to actually change the fan speed and turn AC on and off, you have to hit a climate button and go into another menu. So there is that. But the big knob, the fun knob, dynamic mode, if you go all the way to the left, it's beeping because I'm already there. Quiet mode. Does powertrain, all-wheel drive system, the traction control, suspension, and steering, all in the softest setting, and throttle response tries to keep you in that EV mode. But enough talk of that. Let's go to Sport Plus. You hold it down, and now we're in track. And I'm putting it in manual mode. So, powertrain. Oh God, that is good. That is real good, friends. So we have a 3.5 liter twin turbocharged V6 engine. It pairs with not one, not two, but 3 electric motors, 2 in the front and 1 in the rear. The total system output is 573 horsepower, and I forget the actual torque number, I think it's 476. Routing power out to the wheels is a 9-speed automatic gearbox, well, routing power from the engine, I should say. And the result is a 0 to 60 time that should be right around 3 seconds, a driving experience that is phenomenal, and just a car that handles wonderfully. The steering is properly weighted. The response from the gearbox is excellent. The brakes, even though these Steelies, they're good, the ceramics are better, but these ones are good. So if you want to save a little dough while you spec your NSX, that's the way to do it. Just cruising, this is the most livable supercar if you want to count this as a supercar. And you kind of have to, because the specs and the numbers and just the powertrain, forward thinking, all that stuff is kind of there. It's Acura's flagship. So you gotta put it in the conversation of supercars, or at least the highest end of sports cars, maybe. Because you're talking, price-wise, where is it at? Audi R8, McLaren 570, Porsche 911 Turbo S. Those cars, performance-wise, kind of beat up on it a little bit. Not utterly so, except for the the Porsche and the McLaren, because those are just different animals. But this car is awesome. It handles so well, and it's criminally underrated and underlooked, I think, just because it wasn't what people expected, and it took longer than they wanted to come out. It's not like the original NSX. Well, the original NSX was a very forward-thinking vehicle, and this is more of the same. And it harkens back to it a little bit in like the way they shape the A-pillars so that you get good visibility out the forward view. And you can see it in the shape, you can see all that stuff. It's just some people wanted something different and they didn't get it. But this is the most livable of those class of cars on a daily basis. Again, with the only exception is the Porsche, just because that's just, I don't know, that car doesn't even make sense. How you can drive it on a daily basis and then just destroy most vehicles, period, end of sentence. But this one is comfortable. The sound system is excellent. The seats are great. For a mid-engine vehicle, it's not that difficult to get in and out of. The McLaren is a bit of a workout. The Audi's fine, but this one, I like a lot about this, which is why I'm kind of droning on. But now we got to get to price, where some people argue it doesn't fit, and I disagree. The base price is just under $160. As tested, this one is $165 because we didn't do the carbon ceramics and the full carbon exterior and interior treatment. You get carbon on the steering wheel, carbon front splitter, carbon around the engine bay, I think. And then I'm glad the spoiler, though, you have to spec because it's awesome. So there are lots of ways to jump the price up, but not a ton. I don't think you really go over 200 on one of these. You get close. I built one online. It was 190 something because I added the ceramics and all the carbon bits. So we're near 200 grand, starting in the mid $100,000 range. I think maybe people have trouble paying that because it's an Acura, but don't think of it as just an Acura. Think of it as a hybrid near supercar that is extremely livable. It's definitely a car you could take to the track and just be comfortable to and from the track. And I think that is just wonderful. I think that's a wonderful dual nature, and it's difficult to find that in something that's mid-engined and as capable. And then unlike those other cars, you know, around town, I'm clicking back down through the modes. I just put it into quiet. Let's see if it'll go. I'm coming down the mountain now, so it's probably not going to go into EV mode, but it's so easy to fill the battery back up and you use up the battery if you're driving around in EV mode, but there's 2 gauges. It's very easy to see how much battery you have, and it fills up quickly when you're not in the quiet mode. And I love driving this thing in EV mode because it doesn't make sense for people when they see it. If I'm in a parking lot strip mall, or I'm driving through my neighborhood, or just I was stuck in traffic on the 5 the other day, so I just kept it in quiet, drained the battery, it filled itself back up. I didn't have to switch out of quiet mode for that to happen. It'll do it itself, obviously, but just rolling around in quiet mode is so much fun in this car, and it's hard to explain until you get to do it. So now it just went into quiet mode, and it's serene and nice, and yeah, it's unsuspecting. And maybe that's the whole problem with this car, is that people were expecting more. But if they ever get a chance to drive it, they realize it is something special. And I'm not trying to defend it. You know, if you don't like it, you don't like it, that's fine. But I'm a huge NSX fan. A hybrid supercar is an awesome thing. When you kick on the engine, it makes good noise. And I usually don't like V6 noise. I usually don't prefer turbocharged noise. This V6 twin turbo sounds pretty awesome. It makes really good notes out the back. And then, you know, it's right there, hanging out. It's you and your buddy, just chilling. And then the electric motors are part of the party. And then you all join forces and have a grand old time. And that's what the NSX is about. I think people are going to miss the boat on these. It's going to go away. It's going to be surprisingly affordable, you know, relative to the original price for a bit. And then those people who scoop them up, if the price dips, are going to just be blown away by what they've bought for an amazing price. I don't know what they're selling for, but I hope people are scooping these up, because this is going to be just, if you have a chance to buy one of these down the road, if you can't afford it now, to buy one as it dips, jump on it. Absolutely jump on it. And if you can't afford one now and you were thinking about it because you want something super racy for a daily driver, this fits the bill perfectly. I love the NSX. I'm going to go back up the mountain now. Cruising on electric only power. Yeah. Another day. No, that's a dumb start. And then the electric motors are part of the party, and I was going to say something stupid, and then you all gang bang the road, but I don't want to use that. That'll go at the end.